Hi everyone, and welcome to our BrightFunded Funded Star Trader interview. My name is BC Richfield. BrightFunded is a prop trading firm allowing you to trade up to 400,000 on our funded star accounts after passing evaluation. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of hosting Hasnain. Hasnain gave us some truly valuable insights into his journeys and offers advice on key areas that led to his profitability. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Hi everyone, really pleased to bring you our interview today with Hasnain, who is one of our BrightFunded traders. Welcome to the show, Hasnain. It's great to have you on.
Thank you so much, Reed. I'm really excited for this interview.
Wonderful, excellent. Well, we don't want to keep people waiting. It's great to hear about the journey of our funded traders, and I know you've had such an incredible journey. We'll dig into this later on, but talking about somebody that has faced adversity in their trading and keeps overcoming it. And I think this is a brilliant theme for traders everywhere, because that's such an important factor that we all have to face, constantly coming up against that doubt and challenges. And I think the very best traders out there really do their best to overcome that. So can you give us a little bit of an introduction about yourself, Hasnain, for the followers?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having me here. So my name is Hasnain and I belong to Pakistan. I've been trading for the last 4 years now, and it's been a roller coaster journey. So initially I was in college, and one of my friends introduced me to trading. So he was actually initially trading crypto, which I know nothing about. And he was like, okay, so you deposit money and you click buy and you make money. And I was like, wow, this is the holy grail here. So I said, okay, let's do it. So then I opened an account with Binance, and I deposited money and I blew that account. So then I said, okay, that's fine. Maybe it's my bad luck. So then I deposited more, and then I lost more, and then I deposited more, and then I lost more. And by doing so, like in the span of like 6 months, I had lost more than $10,000. And the point was that amount was actually on debt. So the people that I took money from, they were constantly buzzing me out to pay them and tell them and give them profits. I actually told them that I'll give you the profits and we could split them. So I was not actually making money and I was in loss. So yeah, it was a very tough time. But then I got introduced to Forex trading, and I said, okay, Forex is less manipulative and it's a bit more easier. At that time, I knew nothing about the prop firms. I think that time it was the FTMO out there, but I did not know about that. So yeah, I came to Forex, and then I lost much more than that. So at the very least, I lost like $17,000, like $7,000 in Forex and $10,000 in crypto. But then I joined a community, and then I went on to search, and I was like, okay, this is enough of loss. If someone is making like $100,000 a month, why am I losing $17,000? So that was like the turning point of my life. And then I went on to searching and digging, and I found out a lot of things, and I realized that I was just gambling actually. I knew nothing about the strategy. I knew nothing about how the market works. I knew nothing about technical analysis. I would just simply go buy and sell. So yeah, that was quite a journey. And then I came back up, and then I finally got to know about the prop firms. So then I went for initially the FTMO, and I failed. To be honest, I was counting just before the interview, and I failed 17 challenges. And at the 18th challenge, I passed. So that was like the most, memorable time of my life. And then the rest is history.
Wonderful. I mean, we kind of gave the viewers a little bit of a teaser a minute ago. Obviously, we've had the pleasure of a little bit of interaction previously about this kind of adversity, right, that you face. I mean, 17 challenges, right? 17 challenges. I think, look, there's a saying, and it's very, very cliche, right? But they say, the night is always darkest before the dawn, right? And I think that so many people in trading give up before they have that. It demands a lot from you trading, and it demands a lot of pain, and it demands a lot of commitment, right? And I think to have the character where you're robust enough to keep coming back from that, I think is really, really inspiring. And I think it's what a lot of people need to hear, because I think there's going to be a lot of people in your position right now that have suffered the same.
Actually, the problem with me was like during the first year of my college, when I started trading and I lost so much money, then there was no going back for me, because I could never make $17,000 being a college student, and I had no degree, I had no qualification, I had no education. So I thought like there is no other way I could make $17,000 except trading, right? So I just burned all my shift and I quit my college. I would never advise anyone to do that, but I actually did, because I thought to myself, if I'm wasting like 7 or 8 hours in college, why shouldn't I give that time to trading and learn more and speed up my process? Because at the end, it's all about how much time are you willing to put in and how much of the efforts and sacrifices are you going to give. So yeah, I quit college and there was no comeback for me. So I finally did it. As you said, at the end of the dark, there's light.
Yeah, I love that story as well. And now I agree with you, right? Funny enough, I went through a similar but also different transition, right? Where actually the big turning point for me was I came from a commercial business background, and I always had a love for trading, and I would trade on the side and would pass some challenges, and I kind of, got involved in cryptocurrency as well, always as a price action trader. And I went to a point where I decided that the support I was getting from the work that I was in was making me a little bit weak towards my commitment to trading, because, okay, I've lost some money here, but I've got more money coming in the next month. So very opposite to what you went through. So when I decided to pursue this full time about 5 years ago, I actually sold all my shares in a company that I'd had for several years. I gave up a very, very high paying job. And I decided that, look, if I can't prove to myself I can earn an income just from trading, then maybe I'm never going to make that jump. Now, I wouldn't recommend anybody do that. I wouldn't recommend, like you said, people drop out of college to do it. The ideal world is you spend your spare time at college learning, and then at the end you make that decision. But what would you say for you? Did you really kind of focus a lot of time on educating yourself towards, a system and a strategy that you then overlaid? Is that what helped you find consistency?
Yeah, actually, there is not one thing that helped me consistency. There were a lot. So first of all, as I said, I would never, ever advise anyone to start trading on debt, because you're losing money. And the most, the worst thing is you have a lot of pressure on you. You have to make money because the people are telling you to give them money, right? So that was the most difficult part. And once I cleared my debt, I feel very relaxed. And my trading went from here to here suddenly, because all of the mental traumas, all of the things that were, the demons that I was fighting, they went away suddenly, right? So then I realized a lot of different things. Like I went on, I actually, to be honest, I tried SMC, I tried ICD, I tried support and resistance, I tried price action, I tried channels. I tried every single thing out there, because I was like in a drowning water, and I have to grab every single stick I could to save myself. So I was like hopping from one strategy to another strategy to another strategy to another strategy, and during that phase I was super unprofitable, because at one strategy I would do 2 or 3 losses, then I would say, okay, this is not working, so I would just shift my strategy. And once I shift my strategy, I would suffer 2, 3 losses again. And I would say, okay, this is not working. I would shift my strategy. So now I realized if I had just stick to one strategy, I would be super profitable. So the things that made me a profitable trader from unprofitable trader are like, number one is the mental relaxation. You don't have to be in the rush to make money, right? Like people say trading is a get rich quick scheme. I say no. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's a super rich scheme, but you have to be patient, right? You can make a ton of money, a fuck ton of money, but you have to be patient. You don't have to rush. So the first thing is you have to be patient. And the second thing is you have to have a strategy. You have to have a back-tested strategy. You have to know your ins and outs. You have to know your biggest win streak and biggest losing streak. You have to know how long can you take losses. You have to understand your mental pressure, because like let's say there's a strategy with a 1 to 10 risk reward ratio, but your gonna win rate is like 10%. So are you able to absorb those 9 losses before you get that 10th? No. So you have to know your mind. You have to know how to play this game. Like if there's a strategy with a 70% win rate and a 1-to-1, I would happily take that. Because for me, taking 3 losses is easy, okay? But taking 10 losses and then heading a 1-to-10 is very hard for me. So what people do wrong when they come to trading is they go for those home runs. They want to get those quick money, right? They want to hit those 1 out of 10, but that's very not, that's not sustainable in the long run. So you have to go for quick gains, you have to go for short gains, and you have to go for like the easy things, not like 1-to-5, or you want to pass a challenge in one trade. Don't do that. Go for it. Easy.
Yeah, I think that really resonates with me. So what I say to people, a lot of people that speak to me about training, it's a couple of things. One, there's a Bruce Lee statement where he says that he fears the man that has practiced one punch 10,000 times, much more than the man that has practiced 10,000 punches once, right? And I think with the world that we live in, where there's so much distraction from Twitter, from social media, where you see these posts of people posting these super normal games, that there's not a whole story behind that, right? I'm fortunate to know some absolutely exceptional traders over the years, and all of them have built wealth slowly and consistently, right? It's a grind. It's not a roll of the dice, right?
Yeah, see, that the point is, like, if you're making 5% per month, right? And if you compound that annually, that is like 87 or 88% annual return, which never is going to happen in any other business, right? If you're aiming for like 20% a month, okay, you will get 20% a month, but the next day you're going to blow your account for sure. So go for small runs and compound, 5% a month is my target. And if you aim for 5% a month, you're going to be super rich in like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and that's the timeline you need to be thinking of this on. So I would say, and again, the points that you've kind of spoken about there, the other side of it is to understand yourself. Now, for me, I'm very similar. So my start in the game was quite frustrating because I was unprofitable for probably about 18 months. And I was having big periods of profit, huge periods of drawdown that really hurt me, right? And the problem with that is because, like you said, I was doing 2 things. I was casting my net very wide and very shallow. I was getting distracted by this new trading technique, or use this indicator, or use this specific set of moving averages. And, all of a sudden, it's when I realized, yeah, and I think everybody does it, right? Because it's very difficult to know at the beginning, but to find your niche and go very deep into that and have a real good understanding. Also, like you said, removes the anxiety. Once you understand the data, you know that you might go through drawdown for X amount of time, for example. And for me, the psychology that you talk about is the next key point. Understanding yourself. I know brilliant traders who have a 20 or 30% win rate, but a really good risk to reward, right? For me, it killed me doing that, right? I like to win. Regular and small is really good for me. I prefer win rates that are 65, 75%, right? And I'm happy to take a smaller return on that because, psychologically it puts me in a better place, I think,
so as I said,
really interesting to hear this.
It's really hard, as I said, it's really hard to absorb 10 losses in a row and then wait for that 11th win, rather than just take 2 losses and then take 7 wins very short term. So it's very easy.
No, absolutely. But it doesn't seem it at the time, does it, when you're getting into that mindset? And I think one thing now, the big advantage that traders have now are companies like BrightFunded, where you can literally, for a very small investment, you can go and get big accounts that can change your life. You can go and get a $100,000 trading account. Look, if you can turn $10 into $50, I say this to people all the time, you can turn the same amount on higher levels. Yeah, if you can turn 10 to 50, you can turn 10K to 50K, etc. Right? Now, the great thing about this is you prove yourself in that respect, you get access to that kind of money, and then you can build that consistency, which is ultimately incredibly life-changing for people. Whether you live in London, New York, you're from Pakistan, for example, as well. We have other people, Dubai, people all around the world. You can do this and you can make that life-changing decision, but you have to have consistency and you have to have a proven strategy, right? And I think that kind of brings us back to this idea of data, right? And how we learn from that. So with you, what was I know you said you kind of had a lot of moments that kind of led to you to that point, but would you say that when you kind of removed that stress of having that excessive debt, Yeah. And at that point, that must have aligned with you having quite a consistent strategy as well.
Yeah, so actually what happened with me was I was like a lot of communities, okay? So I was like, at one point I was like trading SMC here, and then I would trade like ICD here, and then I would trade like the New York session on breakout, and then I would trade like the price section in the different section. So I was like a lot, congested and so disturbed in these things. I was so confused. But then there was a video on YouTube that I watched, and it said that you don't need a lot of things to make money. You just simply need to know a perfect session. Like it could be London or it could be a New York session, whatever you're good. You should know one pair and you should know one session, and you should take only one trade a day. That's it. And you should risk only 1% per trade, right? And once I slowly and gradually absorbed those things, like my life was changed. I was like from a super unprofitable trader to slowly profitable, and then to being a consistent trader. So now I trade only one session, which is London session. I trade only one pair, which is gold. I take only one trade a day, which is 1%, and that's it. And and then and initially I was using a lot of indicators. Like I would look for the RSI, and the RSI would telling me to buy, and then I would look for the EMA, and the EMA has crossed and it's telling me to sell. And then I would look at the price section, and the price section would be choppy. So at one point I would want to buy, and at one point I would want to sell. So yeah, that was so confusing. So everyone who's watching this, I want to tell you guys that you don't need a lot of things to be profitable. You just need one or two things that repeats itself every day, and you can capitalize on that move, and you can make a super rich, super money, right? So yeah, I removed all the indicators, and now I don't trade any ICD, any fair value gaps, any order blocks. I trade nothing, right? I just trade fair price action. I look at the candles, I look at the market momentum, it's bullish or bearish, and then I trade. If you want me to share my screen and show you some of the trades that I take, I'll be more than happy.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Yeah, I bet people would absolutely love that. Why don't we do that, actually, Hasnain? Why don't you pop your screen share over and let's take a look, get some real insight for the viewers, which will be awesome.
Yeah, perfect. I hope you will be able to see my chart.
We can see it absolutely fine. Nice green and white candles there. Yeah, perfect. So look, my strategy is very simple. I have the Euro USD. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the daily and just to have a look at what the market is doing, right? So if you look at here, the most recent here, you can see that the market is crossing up and the market is going up right here. So that's it. That's the knowledge that I need for a trade. Nothing else. Nothing else, right? So what I'm going to do is, let me show you some of the trades that I took. Oh my goodness. Okay. So if you look at this, this was the loss that I took yesterday. So for me, the market was actually choppy, right? The market was actually choppy. Market went down. So this was the Tokyo session right here. Market was doing this. Market went down, grabbed the liquidity under this Tokyo session, right? And then once the market reversed, I waited for the London session to kick off, right? So once the London session was kicking off, and on this breakout, when I finally, got an idea that, okay, market has grabbed enough liquidity here, and market is ready to pop back up, I entered at this candle right here. And then as you can see, market went back down to take me out, and then, break up without me. So that hurts. But yeah, that is actually how I trade. So if you take a look back here, look, I trade the same concept every day. Market repeats itself every single day. So if you look here, the market was ranging. Market went back up and then came back down on the London Open to just, liquidate these early buyers who just longed here on these candles, right? And then the market pushed back up really high with a strong momentum in this candle. As you can see, I entered here, same old concept, and market went back up. Brilliant. I mean, are you looking
You see,
more momentum through that move? Sorry, Hasnain.
yeah,
Or are
exactly.
you looking for particular candles like, for example, pin bar candles or bullish engulfing candles? You're looking for that
No, no,
strong
no,
breakout.
no. Well, I call myself actually a momentum trader because I don't trade on these candlestick patterns or it's a pin bar or hammer or inverted hammer or whatnot and whatnot. Look at this again, another trade, a super easy trade here. You see, so the market was again ranging in Tokyo session. During the London Open, market straight went back down. So all those people that longed in these Tokyo sessions, they are being taken out. They are liquidated right here. And then as you can see, market reverse back quick in the next candle. That is showing me a strong buying power, right? Because the liquidity has been taken in the market right here and market is ready to pull up. So on this strong momentum candle, I entered here with a stop loss just below at the 50% here and market rip up. Simple. Giving me a 1 to 3.
Nice. And it's a bold move there. So I suppose you're looking at the range that's been left by the expansion candle and you're saying, look, if we start coming back to 50% of this, then the chances are I'm not right about this momentum taking the market higher.
Yes, exactly. So that is how I trade. Again, here, look at this. So what did market was ranging? I as I already mentioned, I trade only London session and I take only one trade a day. So if that trade is a win, I'm happy. I call it a day. If that trade is a loss, I'm happy. I'm calling it a day. So the same happened. Market went back up, and during this retracement candle, I entered. Market went back up, and then it went back to my drawdown. But my rules are that I don't set break even. I don't take partials, nothing. I enter a trade, I sit SL and I sit TP and I just leave it. If it hits my TP, I'm happy. If it hits my SL, I'm happy. So I don't just go to break even when it hits a 1-to-1, or I don't do that shit because I'm trading like set and forget rules. So market went back to drawdown and then market went back up. Simple. And guys, let me show you. Today I take a loss. It's not that I take wins every single day. Okay, it's not. Yeah, so I think there is problem with the FXCM data here. Let's just take a previous. You see the same concept. It's giving me loss. So the market was ranging. Market went back down up and then went back up. And I thought, okay, it's the market is already in a bullish trend. And market went back up a little bit retracement. It also went down to this order block, which I don't look at usually, but yeah, you can say that. And then I said, okay, price is gonna go up. And I executed on my idea and market gave me a loss. That's fine. I'll walk away with the loss. So it's not that I win every single day. If I calculate my win rate, it's ranging about like 60 to 65%. But my risk reward ratio is quite strong. So I never take less than like 3% per trade. So I always set a 1 to 3 and that's it. It's a win-win. It's a loss. I'm happy with it.
Nice. And I think within that consistency as well helps remove anxiety, right? Like you said, it's nice. Some people will open a trade on a 15-minute chart or a 1-hour chart and you see them on the 1 minute just giving themselves heart attacks all day, looking at every structure break and every move, right? I think, different rules make sense for different traders, right? I think. But I think what I also really like is that you show your losses.
I have just one time frame which I trade on. So like I trade only on the 15-minute. I don't look at what 4 hour is doing. I don't look at what 1 minute is doing. Okay. I take a daily buy from the daily chart and then I execute on 15 minutes. That's it. That's my game plan. I don't look at what 1 hour is doing. I don't look at what 30-minute is doing. I don't look at what weekly is doing. I know nothing about that. So I never confuse myself. And yeah, one more thing I would like to mention is what most people do is that they just take a trade on euro, but they look at the DXY chart and they say, okay, if DXY is coming down, euro is going up. Yeah, okay, I get that. That is perfect. There's a correlation between them. But I never confuse myself with these two. So I never have ever I looked at the other chart. If I'm trading euro, I would only look at euro. I would not look at what dollar is doing or what pound is doing or what gold is doing. I would never look at that.
I think that's a really, really good lesson for people in simplicity, right? Because look, simplicity doesn't get enough credit for what it does. As in most things in life, some of the very best inventions, some of the most life-changing things aren't reinventing the wheel. They're doing things well, consistently, and in a system that's repeatable, especially when it comes to trading, right? So I think that's really important for people to hear, right? I think when people are looking to build this consistency, I think what you've really shown us today is that you can step into the charts with what looks like quite a simple system, but the real kind of brilliance that goes into it is stuff that happens behind the scenes, right? It's the testing, it's the data, it's understanding it enough to be able to execute. And then when you have the data, it gives you that confidence to hit those positions every time. And like you say, you take a loss, you walk away, right? You take your wins, you know your risk allows for that. One question I did have really, really interestingly, so when you're setting your profit targets, you're not particularly bothering in targeting highs and lows, for example. You're saying to yourself, look, I want 3 to 1 here, and then I'm out.
What I do is I don't look at if there's a liquidity high or if there's liquidity below or if there's what I said, order block or fair value gap or, equal highs or equal lows. I don't confuse myself with that. I treat the most simplest system in the world, right? So what I do is I enter a trade, I set the SL, and I drag the trading view position, to 1 to 3, and I set my TP there. That's it. I don't look at what's happening on the left. I don't look at if there is a resistance in between or if there is a liquidity. I don't look at that. I just simply target 1 to 3, and that's it. If the market is going to give me 1 to 3, I'm very happy with it. If the market is not giving me 1 to 3, I'm not going to quit on trading. I'm going to put an SL and just walk away. That's it. It's either hit my TP or it's either going to hit my SL, because I don't want to fill my brain with this anxiety thing. It's going up. It's going down. There's a liquidity. I should cut my trade. There is this other block. I should cut my trade, because all right, I understand. One time, if you get this bad habit of quitting the trade early or getting out of the trade, or cutting your winners short, you're not going to be successful. You have to let your winners run to the take profit that you want, and you have to cut your losses at 1%. That's it.
Yeah.
I saw a quote from Michael Jordan. I saw a quote from Michael Jordan, and it says that don't do a bad habit once, because if you do it once, it becomes a habit, right? So don't just think, okay, this time I'm gonna cut this trade early, and the next time I'm gonna hold it. No, don't do it. Don't just touch your trade. Let it run. If it's a win, it's a win. If it's a loss, it's a loss. And again, okay, so every time I talk, I recall something else. But let me just share, because I hope it's happening with a lot of people, because it happened with me as well. So people think that trading is actually an accuracy game, but I don't believe so, because if you're aiming for that 90% accuracy, it's very, very hard to maintain. Okay, so that means you are going to suffer losses. There is no other way you can avoid losses. Okay, as much as I know, there is no way you can avoid losses. Even if you have a 90% win rate, you're still gonna take that one loss, right? So the best thing is you accept that loss, because if you're not accepting that loss, that means you're not moving on. You are putting those losses in your mind, and you're not allowing yourself to look for those wins. So trading is not the accuracy game. Trading is the game of accuracy, plus how much are you willing to get into the market, and how much are you taking from the market. It's a two-way game. So if you're running after accuracy, then your risk reward ratio is going to be like 1 to 0.2 or 0.3. But if you drop down your accuracy to like 50%, and let's say you're right only 50% of the times, but if you're hitting 1 to 3, you will be super profitable. You won't run after accuracy. You have to look at both the sides.
I think what's interesting about that as well, it comes back again to consistency, right? I think that, like you said, don't be tempted to take profit early if your system, your data doesn't allow for it. Because, so for example, I'm a little bit the other way with my trading, right? So I trade very low time frames. I move stops quite aggressively in the system, but I understand the data very intimately. So the key thing for me is that it's all baked into the strategy moving forward. Now, for me, if I just change that on a whim and say, do you know what, today I'm just going to let this run for a 5R, and that doesn't work, and it goes, then the problem is the data sets that I've built testing the strategy previously are pretty much invalidated, right? And
exactly.
then what
That's
happens,
what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah.
inconsistency creeps in, anxiety creeps in, right? And with all of that, doubt creeps in, and then we look to change everything in a panicked moment, right? So I think there's a lot that people can learn from that. And I think, look, the one thing that I've always found fascinating about trading is that there's so many ways to approach it. You know, I built profitable systems back in the day where my dashboard looked like something out of Star Trek or Star Wars, right? I mean, there were so many indicators, bells, whistles, moving averages, crossovers, you know, like volume and everything in the world. And you look, if that's what appeals to you, then just build a consistent system and use it. But I think for most people, they will get a lot more value out of stripping everything away, trying to relax themselves, focusing on a specific time period that they have data for. For example, I pretty much predominantly trade the New York AM session, right? That's what I really like to trade now. I understand it. It's what I've traded for a long time. I used to love London with Forex pairs as well, because I felt like it gave me a little bit of an edge. But I think a lot of people, like you said, will benefit hugely from just focus on one pair. Yeah, get to understand that pair really intimately, right? How it moves, what affects it. Or like you do, if you're going to ignore the noise, strip all of the noise away. Don't look at the news. Don't look at the DXY, right? Don't look at counter-correlated pairs and correlated pairs, but make sure you're consistent to yourself. And I think that's a really, really brilliant message for people. I think I'd love to ask you two more questions if you have a moment.
Sure.
And the first one of those is, I would say, because we've answered a lot of them already, right, which is brilliant, right? You know, your trading journey, your favorite pairs, for example, right? Finding consistency within trading, these really super important questions that so many people want to know. I would say, what motivates you now? Because I think motivation is something that changes, right? And I'd love to know for the users out there, because so many people think that it's money or lifestyle, etc. But our motivations change a little bit, right? When you start kind of stepping into the professional realm more and more.
Yeah, so you're actually touching the hard parts of my heart now, but let me just spit out the truth. So, you know, when I was a kid, I to be honest, I belong to a very middle class family. Like, I don't belong to a super rich family, or my father is super rich. No, it's not like that. Initially, I was very impressed with a YouTuber, and of course, everyone knows that he was Mr. Beast, right? So, of course, you know Mr. Beast. You do?
Of course, I know Mr. Beast. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I don't have money to buy shoes. And this guy is giving away $1 million by just plotting a circle and telling people to take it. So I was like, what's going on? Like, why do they have so much money? I don't have it. So then I was like, okay. So what I did was I said, okay, I'll start a YouTube channel as well. So back in 2018, I opened a YouTube channel, and I was like, okay, what I do best is I actually read a lot of books. So I said, okay, I'll upload short summary videos and whiteboard animations on YouTube, and I'll upload it. And then I did that for 2 years, and I got no results. So I was like, what's happening? And then, you know, slowly and steadily, I read some books that, you know, motivated my mind that if you want freedom in life, and if you want to live truly, the first thing you need is financial freedom, right? You know, you need financial freedom. Of course, you need health, but secondly, you need financial freedom. So let's say you want to enjoy life and you're super good, but you don't have money. So you're going to be rotting in the same place your whole life. And I don't want that. I want to travel the world. I want to enjoy the luxuries. I want to do every single thing in this world. Of course, why not? If someone else is doing, let's say if Reese is doing, if Reese is giving away money for free, why can't I? Right? So that thing really, you know, integrated in my mind slowly. And I was like naturally attracted to money. So, but then there was very hard times in my life, which I never shared with anyone, but you know, this is the first interview, and I would speak it out here. So there was a time in my life when, as I mentioned, I had taken like $18,000 debt. So no one was giving me money. Right? It was really hard for me to ask money from my parents. They already given me so much. I took debt from my friends, so I couldn't ask them to give me money. So at one point, it was so hard for me that I had no money to cut my hairs. So I would grow my hairs long. I had no money, so I would sleep at my friend's place because I couldn't afford a rent, right? And there was no, there was no comeback for me in life. So I said, okay, I want that much. So the first thing people say, oh, I don't want money. This is just from naturally hurt. No, I want money. Why wouldn't I? So the first thing for me was money, of course. The first motivation for me was money. And the second was the situation that I was in, because as I already mentioned, I had burned out my ships, right? I had no going back. I left university. I had no job. I had no money. I couldn't ask my parents. So either I had to die to make it work. So I did it. I made it work. And that was my motivation.
Wonderful. Well, how open and wonderful of you to share that with us, Hasnain. I really do appreciate that. I think a lot of people that come through these journeys as well and have been so fortunate to meet so many people like yourself, self-made people. And I think...
I'm sorry to cut you, Reese, but that's why I'm so open to you, because I know that when I was going through that phase, nobody was there to tell me, right? I would look at the Instagram, those fake gurus, and I would like, oh, they're making millions and I'm in loss. But they don't show their losses, right? They don't show their struggles. They only show you their wins. And somehow you feel in these, inferiority complex that, oh, I can never do that. And I will never be a best trader. And I would never make money from this market. That is not the case. Everybody that came in this market had a losing phase, they had lost everything. And it takes 2 to 3 years to get back that. But nobody talks about this. Everybody talks about the quick rich scheme. Everybody talks about the Lambos and the Rolls Royces and the, vacations. It's not about that. You have to come to this market. You have to accept losses. You have to learn from it. And then you have to move on. So everybody goes through that phase.
They do, but how important to share that with people, right? And as something I've always said to people I've been fortunate to work alongside or potentially mentor over the years is that, money and wealth is a byproduct of a successful trading system, right? You don't just go on there, right? Look, if you can turn, we said this earlier, if you can turn $10 into 50, you can turn 10K into 50K, you can turn 1 million into 5 million, right? It's not the amount of money that you put in, it's tackling your own demons, understanding your own mental state, what suits you, and persevering, right? Look, you need to go through that hurt. I think someone much smarter than me said that the man that says, and woman as well, obviously, but the person that says they can do something and the person that says they can't are both often right. Yeah. So you've got to have that mindset. You've got to be willing to take the hits. You've got to be willing to get up and keep going. True. And you know what? I don't think money is a bad motivator. I think people look at it and think you come from a wealthy background, you just want cars and helicopters. No, most of the people I've met I come from a very middle class background as well, very fortunate, growing up in England and that we had what we had. But, I grew up with a lot of people considerably wealthier than me. And actually, a big drive for me in trading and in business was so that I could experience more things in life. I'm not really that fussed about Lamborghinis and helicopters. It's not what really ticks me. If it does for you, wonderful. Use that as your ambition. For me, it was traveling the world. It brought up a whole new world for me in traveling, in networking, embracing other cultures and other people. That's what really enriches me, right? So I think people using money as a motivation sometimes is seen as a bad thing, right? But I really don't think
it's not bad.
And you know what? It's so wonderful of you sharing that with us. I've just got one more question, and then we'll wrap this up for everyone. Sure. And I know you're traveling at the moment, which is a wonderful of you to kind of take some time.
Actually, I love to travel, so that was one of the motivations as well.
Wonderful. So
sorry about my background, though.
Don't worry, it looks like a nice background.
Yeah.
What was it? What was it that made you choose BrightFunded? I know you'd worked with other prop desks. I'm certainly not asking you to kind of deal any dirt on anyone. But what was it that attracted you to BrightFunded?
Yeah, so as I already had mentioned before this, but I'd like to go through it again. So initially, I had no idea about the prop firm, so I was trading my personal capital, and I would say it again that it's so easy to make money these days because there are a lot of ways to make that. At that time, there was no such thing. The challenge was very hard. You had to get 10% in 30 days, right? There's no time restriction now, right? And then on the second phase, you had like 60 days to go, right? There is no time restriction now. That time there was also like, the trader who would like trade aggressively, they would put risk limits on that. And there was a lot of shady stuff that time, but people are now aware and it's so easy to make money with these prop firms. So initially I had like FTMO, I made some money from them and then I failed, but the challenge was very, to be honest, a little bit expensive as compared to others. So I said, okay, TFT is cheap, let's go to TFT, the funded trader. So I went on to funded trader, I failed challenges, I passed some, I failed some, I failed phase 2 as well. So then I got funded with them and I had 2 payouts with them and then done, they're closed. So I lost 400K funded accounts with them. And to my surprise, I found out that the owner of TFT had some stakes. I don't know which is true or not with the SFT as well, with the skill funded trader as well. And I had 200K with SFT, so that is gone as well. So at suddenly I was down 600K funding. So then what I did was I went out, and the most important thing about that was they had no in-house technology, right? They have this white label technology. I don't know if the viewers looking here, they would know this or not, but they don't own their tech and they hired it from another company and they white label that tech and they call it the TFT. But that was not the case. But then one of my friends told me about BrightFunded, and when I found out, the most important point for me was that they have the in-house technology, right? So I was like, okay, nobody's gonna pull the rug off them. Please, they know what they're doing. And then and then I was funded with the True Forex fund, and they shut down again. So I lost some more funds, 200K funded again. So then I slowly went down for BrightFunded, and to be very honest, at the very start, it was very good because their support is quick. Like literally, you text, and within the same minute, the support staff is here with you. I know a lot of the support really right now. Like I know them by names, like the customer support, the Suresh, the Bias, the Alfredo. I know all of them by name, right?
Big shout out to those guys, keeping everything moving.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate them. So yeah, they're very friendly. The support is pretty good, and the best part is like the CEO fella himself. Like he's very active in the Discord, and he replies personally to my emails. Like I've been talking to him for two times, and both of the times he replied me for like within the same hour. So it was really surprising for me. Like the CEO himself is taking mails, and he replies personally. So that was really impressive for me. And then I look at the platform, so they have like the DX trade, and that was really good for me because the MT5 was going off and there was so much issues. So the MetaCode license and all those things, you might be aware of that, and the viewers as well, because every prop firm with the MT5, they were at risk at that time. And I had already lost around 800K in funding, so I would never want to take that risk again. So I was looking for a prop firm which has no MT5, but they're at least stable and they have like a good support and a good everything. So yeah, that's why I went to BrightFunded, and the journey has been really amazing. I super love it. I had 100K account with them, but then I passed a 50K, and now I'm taking 200K challenges. So I hope very soon I max them out.
And you know what, mate? I really, really don't doubt that you will. And I just want to kind of finish this up by really, really thanking you. Thanking you for coming on the show. It's been really, really brilliant to get to know you a little bit better. Thank you for your honesty, right? I think it's been really, really helpful for people. I think people can learn a lot from this. And I really look forward. Let's do a catch up on this again in the near future. See if you've got those 200Ks under your belt, because I don't doubt that you will.
Sure.
All right, buddy. Look,
Sure. I'll be happy to hop in again. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. The very best of luck for the future. And I look forward to catching you again soon.
Thank you so much.
Well, that wraps up our brilliant interview with Hasnain. What great insights into his journey and so much valuable insight and advice to take on board. Thank you very much, Hasnain. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit the likes, and share some love for Hasnain in the comments. I look forward to seeing you all at the next one.